Good morning, I'm WaywornWyrm, and welcome to my channel. And welcome to Space is Wide and Good Friends Are Too Few, Episode 5, First Contact. Captain Joel Prunier scratched the growth of beard on his face as he looked down at the sensor officer's station. "Are you sure?" he asked again, knowing the answer, but his brain was still not letting him process what his sensor officer was telling him. "Yes, Captain. I am positive. I've cross-checked the readings of the ball and the Kali. They both agree. We have all done diagnostic checks on our passive sensors, and they all report being fine. Not only did this not happen when we jumped to Lumen 16, but the other 4 jumps other task groups have done have not reported this. You knew this was a possibility when you set the course 6 days ago. Ross 128-2 has a nitrogen-oxygen atmosphere at 40% that of Earth at sea level. It's a little cold and tidally locked and is entirely covered in ice. But it has the pieces that our information told us were conducive to life. There's a large electromagnetic signature coming from the planet. It's just over 30% larger than the signature from Earth, which would probably put their population at around 1.3 billion, assuming a linear growth of electromagnetic signature. Do we have a digital copy of the Voyager Golden Record on file?" Captain Prunier asked next. He was trying to think fast, to try and do something. This was first contact. The first time humanity had ever encountered a new life form off the planet Earth. He couldn't mess this up. Not only would this event shape the relationship with this alien race, it could well shape how any and all future alien races were dealt with. Even further, every recording of this and the interviews with the entire task group will be poured over with the finest of combs. Ensign Lott answered for the sensor officer, Ensign Weaver. "Yes, Captain. We have a copy of everything on the Voyager Golden Record, as well as photos of the record itself." Good. Transmit them on all frequencies. Make sure to start the transmissions in the 1420 to 1720 megahertz range. Let's see how correct those old SETI guys were with their ideas of the water hole. Continue forward and set a course to orbit their planet at 1 million kilometers. About 2 hours later, a message came from Commander Milford Zuck, the commanding officer on the Ball, the ship that had its active sensors on. "Captain Prunier, we have a contact. I repeat, we have an unknown contact. It is within our grouping, and is somewhere within the 10,000 kilometer bubble our ships stay within. It's keeping pace with us exactly, going 1,000 kilometers a second. Our computers designated the class Trafalgar, with this being Trafalgar 001. It is a thermal contact of 1,200, which is almost an order of magnitude greater than our own. The computer estimates the tonnage of the ship at 8,550 tons, putting it 3,550 tons larger than the Lexington class, and it has an estimated top speed of 7,017 kilometers a second, so it should be able to outpace us by over twice. Its total cross-section is 171, which is close to twice that of the Lexington's 100. Just as Joel was reading through the report, a second one came through. "Target designated Trafalgar 001 has activated sensors and has taken off in the opposite direction as us, heading toward the jump point at full speed. The range of these sensors seems to be 134.4 million kilometers, which dwarfs our own 23.1 million kilometer ship detection sensors. Our main anti-ship sensors are calibrated to operate best against ships that are 5,000 tons. This sensor seems to be calibrated for ships that are 3,245 tons, which seems to be an oddly specific number. I have assigned my lasers to their fire controls, and have the fire controls targeting the ship. With the present course and speed of both our ship and theirs, we'll be out of range in 22 seconds. If we reverse course and follow them at current speed, we'll be out of range in just under 30 seconds. If we open up to full speed, we can keep in range for almost 45 seconds. I'm unsure of how many volleys we can get off in that time, as our lasers are slow to recharge, and our crews are not trained well in this eventuality. Joel knew he had to think fast as he made a decision. Navigation. Check the sensor charts of the ball. Confirm that Trafalgar 001 is heading toward the jump point. Within a couple of seconds, the officer looked up at him. Confirmed. Best information states that the Trafalgar 001 is heading toward the jump point. If we got such a good read on them in the first sweep, it's safe to assume they have the same as us now. Task group wide orders. Open up to full speed and trail the Trafalgar 001. Make sure lasers are on their correct fire controls and start tracking the ship with the fire controls, but do not fire. Repeat orders. Do not include opening fire. He would wait and see for as long as he could. It would take going back to the jump point to send a message back to Earth, and even if he could, it would take several days before they could move a task group to intercept the enemy ship if it made the jump. Within a second or two of the orders going out, a message came back from the ball. Following it is unnecessary. Trafalgar 001 has reversed course and is heading back toward us. The next report came in 10 seconds later. Trafalgar 001 slowed to 999 kilometers a second and came very close before shooting off a second time toward the jump point. During this entire time, Joel was still waiting for his semi-shaken crew to finish reversing course and begin trailing the Trafalgar. Trafalgar continuing to move off. Given the state of the crew, now is the time you should order a laser volley if you want to get one off in time before it moves out of range while we finish turning around. It took the crews of the Cambrai, the Ball, and the Kali a full minute to react in their first combat encounter. By the time they started to move, the Trafalgar had traveled first 35,085 kilometers away, then back, then traveled another 315,765 kilometers before the task group Cambrai could even get everything together enough to move. 54 minutes later, the thermal contact with the Trafalgar 001 was lost, but the ship was still on the Ball's active sensors. The Kali had turned on their sensors as well to provide double coverage. A few seconds later, the thermal signature was picked back up for unknown reason. Joel was wondering if the ship had stopped to wait for them. 80 minutes after that, the Trafalgar again reversed course and started back to its home planet. Joel initially ordered the task group to keep following the Trafalgar, but decided it would be better to get back to the jump point and report back in. 4 minutes after that decision, the Trafalgar again reversed course and began heading toward the task group and the jump point beyond. The Trafalgar came to within 3 million kilometers of the task group before once more reversing course. But this time, Joel didn't offer his group to follow them. Joel made an entry log that the Trafalgar had moved beyond their active sensor range at 070731, 5 hours and 30 seconds after first contact with the ship. With the Trafalgar's active sensors being as strong as they were, the task group could use that signal to still determine to within a few kilometers of where the ship would be, but not precisely enough to have a weapons lock or anything. At 10:36:31, 3 hours and 29 minutes after the Trafalgar moved out of active sensor range of 23.1 million kilometers, the Trafalgar had moved far enough away that the task group Cambrai could no longer read the signal from the Trafalgar's active sensors, meaning it had moved past the 134.4 million kilometer range. The task group Cambrai reached the jump point to Seoul at 20:51:31 on 30th January 2101. 4 days, 18 hours, 51 minutes, and 20 seconds after first detecting the population center on Ross 128-2. Joel made his report that would fundamentally change humanity forever. Rear Admiral Lily McQuay was ushered into the office of President Marjorie Steller, a large, opulent affair with an almost comically large desk. She knew that this office was just the public office, and President Steller had a private office that was much more useful than the one she was currently in. But this one served its purpose of showing the grandeur of the office and the power of the president. She sat where the president indicated that she sit, and she started by taking out her tablet and sending the president a file. She watched in silence as the president received the file and opened it up and scanned the first paragraph or so. "What is this?" the president finally asked. "That, ma'am, is a report from Captain Joel Prunier, the commanding officer of Task Group Cambrai, currently located in Ross 128. His task group jumped into the Ross 128 system 11 days ago, and almost 6 days ago he detected an inhabited world in the system." How did he do that? The planet was sending out a lot of electromagnetic and thermal radiation. The amount they were picking up indicated that the planet was emitting 30% more radiation of those kinds than Earth does. He ordered his task group toward the planet and encountered an alien ship 2 days later. It played a very strange cat-and-mouse game with them before it finally left, as it became clear that they were moving off in the direction that they had come. "Thank you very much, Rear Admiral," the president said simply, and it was clear that she was being dismissed. Thank you so much for listening to the 5th episode of Space is Wide and Good Friends Are Too Few. Make sure to tune in tonight over on my Twitch channel, where my wife and some friends of ours are going to be playing The Curse of Strahd. And make sure to tune in tomorrow morning for my Monday morning live. And also, tune in on May 13th for Space is Wide and Good Friends Are Too Few, Episode 6, The Ross 128 Report.